Hello, arm balancers. Okay, so let's talk about some of the core exercises that we did in our last session. Just as a reminder, because remember, when we're doing our arm balances, it's so important not only to engage so that you're bringing everything into your center line, but also always think about lifting from the front hip bones, engaging all of those muscles and using those core muscles to lift and to lengthen. So in a lot of the arm balances, when we talk about root to rise, you're rooting down through your hands, but you have to get your tailbone up. And the only way to get that tailbone up is to use the core muscles. So a couple of great things to do, 3 that we will focus on in the beginning. First and foremost, let's come into our plank position. I'm going to show you this straight on and then I'll turn to the side. Coming into our plank position, I'm going to go to a down dog. I'm gonna bring my right knee in towards my chest as tight as I can. I'm gonna give a little round to my spine, and as I inhale, I'm gonna bring my knee down, but try to keep it soft, just a tap and exhale, up into the spine. Inhale and exhale. So if I turn to the side, you'll see I'm in a plank. I bring that knee in towards my chest as high into the rib cage as I can. I inhale, bring it low, and exhale, as high as I can get it. Inhale, just tap, and exhale. You can also work on what we talked about was that box move, where you're in a plank position, you bring that knee forward, and you go wrist, tricep, across to the tricep, down to the wrist, up to the tricep, tricep, wrist, and you make a box as high as you can get it. So you work all 4 corners. So there, what we're doing is we're squeezing the abdomen, we're utilizing those core muscles and trying to practice to get that knee as high up into our chest as we possibly can. That's gonna come in very handy when we start bringing that knee high up on our tricep. Second exercise, turning over on your butt. Sitting up nice and tall. I'll kind of catty corner so you can see my legs. Sitting up nice and tall, sit bones are down. We're just gonna work on some of that hip flexor strength. Lift and tap, place it down. Lift and tap the heel on top of the toe. Place it down. Lift and down, lift and down. Still keeping that nice, tall, through the spine, crown of the head lifting. You can also lift, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and other side for 5, for 4, for 3, for 2, for 1. Then, keeping the legs out nice and long, roll yourself back, point through the toes, reach the hands towards the toes, peel the head, the shoulders, even the upper spine off the ground, and then lift the legs. If you have any weakness in your lower back, a little bend in the knees as you're starting. But once you start to build up that strength, we call this a hollow boat. Squeeze the abdominals and think curve. The only thing that should be on the ground is maybe your tush and maybe your lower back. And once you start to build up a little more strength, take those arms up over the head and make yourself into as much of a crescent shape as you can possibly manage. You hold it for about 15 seconds and then let it down, come back up 5 times. The last one of the strength, let's see. I think that's actually enough to start with, enough to be dangerous, and we can work on a couple of other strengths. Oh, I remember what we were doing with our blocks. Blocks on each side, right about at your hips, and cross in an easy pose. Now remember, this is a challenging one. It's gonna challenge your core, it's gonna challenge your hip flexors, it's gonna challenge your arm strength, all the things we need for our arm balance, right? So we're gonna press our hands into our blocks, and we're just gonna start by lifting our butt off the ground. Make sure the shoulder blades are pulled back and the shoulders are down. We don't wanna be hunched here, we wanna be nice and long. And then from here, let's start with just singles. Lifting one leg, and then lifting the other leg, and lifting. And I know Simon got into working last week of lifting straight up, which is fine. You can do that as well. But our end goal is going to be pressing those hands into the blocks keeping the feet in close and lifting the feet off the ground. Squeezing the abdominal muscles. Remember, long through the shoulders, shoulder blades down. Come on down. Knee into the chest, dropping the knee and lifting. Do about 5 to 10 on each side. Take a break. Do 5 to 10 on each side. If you really want to be assertive, do the box plank, 5 to 10 on each side. Turn over, do your hollow boats. Make sure you're doing your hip flexor strengthening. And then finish it off with those lifts either into the cross-legged lift or into doing an L with the feet lifted. Choose your poison. Happy strengthening. Try to do this at least once a week. Better if you can do it twice. Last but not least, I'll go through stretching.